Welcome to Bradley J. Travel. This time we focus on Vilnius, Lithuania, and this trip was special for me. Yes, Vilnius, Lithuania has been a long-time bucket list destination because I'd been to Tallinn and Riga, and people who know Vilnius told me that if I liked those places, that Vilnius would be a must, and they were right. Not only is it now my favorite capital in the Baltics, but the city is so clean, pretty, interesting, and walkable, and friendly. It's now one of my favorite destinations overall. And there's something else about the city that resonates with me, and I just can't put my finger on it. Maybe it's the geographic location, the super cool restaurants and bars, but even then, there's something more that I just have trouble identifying. By the way, nice hotel, right? I'm not rich, but I saved up and splurged. First order of business, something to eat, right down the street. Cool place said fish and chips, €13. Boom, I'm on it. Delicious. And they sure know how to do winter here. Look at this beautiful, huge skating rink. A little something for the nightcap before bed, and there's the bed at the Hotel Imperial. And breakfast was a big deal here. Of course, they have fruit, but look, eggs with fish roe, meats, but they also had salmon and butterfish, and I love this stuff. In addition to that, oh, look at that, sparkling wine. That's what a breakfast plate looks like. And after all that, you get to order something cooked like this, crepes or eggs Oscar. After breakfast, a dip in the jacuzzi and an extremely hot sauna, and out for the day. It was kind of misty, a little rainy, but the locals were thrilled because they said it's usually a lot colder, and some of them were just happy it wasn't snow. Others, they want to see the snow. For example, Martinez, whom I connected with online before going, is a person who loves the snow, and he's also a brewer. So we met in this marketplace, and he told me about brewing in Lithuania, and while we listen to what he says, I'll show you some images of that cool marketplace.
During the Soviet times, lots of private businesses were kind of forbidden. I mean, all of the private businesses were forbidden, so the brewing as a craft also died. Then after the break of Soviet Union, this home brewing became legal again. And it turns out the countryside had a number of old masters who were still brewing. So we knew that it exists, but we didn't know much about it. So we started tasting other kinds of beers in the countries we were traveling to. And then I came across a little book that said, you can make your own beer. And soon enough, I brewed my first beer. And when I came back to Lithuania, I started looking for other people that were doing the same, and I couldn't find any, except for a couple of people that just came back from US. So we kind of formed a little club, and more people started joining these clubs. And they started brewing more and more intensively, and eventually kind of small, tiny businesses started popping up.
Now, here's a gift that Martinez brought me. It's a beer he made, and it's barrel-aged and tastes like something between beer and wine. I went to a couple of great bars, 3 bars actually that I liked a lot. And a bar is really important when you're alone, because it's a place where you can meet people and speak with them. And this was such a place. It looked very inviting. I went in to see what they had, what it was all about, and the bartender was nice, friendly, and welcoming. I had a giant Campari spritz, and they had dried aged meats. So I had a plate of shaved dried aged meat with a little olive oil on it. Back onto the streets near my now familiar skating rink to another place called Garden Bar. and that became my home away from home. It was a special place, and here's why. Okay, tell me what makes this place special.
People around, people who visiting the place, who start to coming from the first day of this bar.
Tell me about how you came to own the bar.
It was a dream from 15 years old. Yeah,
And for a while you lived in Kazakhstan,
14 years in Kazakhstan.
and I love how cozy it is. Who did the decorations?
There's my friends, the Instagrams on the wall on another side. One of guy, his name Andrei. I just explained them what I want to see on these walls, and green color is the softest color for the people mind. I mean, it's the relaxing color.
Well, I got to tell you, yesterday was my first day in town, and I'm all alone. And I came in here, and you were very friendly. And then your friends came in, or your customers who are also your friends came in, and they were also very friendly. There was Paul and
Bart for me.
And those guys were great. I really appreciate you talking to me, and thanks. As I mentioned, the place was my home away from home for 4 nights. And by the way, here's some local cherry brandy, and if you like this kind of thing, try some of this local stuff. Next, it's a walk to the KGB Museum. They don't call it that anymore. They call it something else. This is, where the guards would sit, and you see some cells. It's really grim, and it's a reminder that people just can be so awful to each other. There's a cell. I don't really need to explain everything. Pretty grim, down in the basement of the museum. This is solitary confinement. Very small. There's a smaller one coming up. And you leave a place like this feeling kind of sad to be a human. Then you hit the streets again and cheer up with some warm wine. Warm wine is big. And back to the skating. I show this rink a lot because it was central to my experience. And I hope that the decision makers in my hometown of Boston will see what a real skating rink looks like and indulge us and get us one. Time for some local foods, and I rejoin my new friend Martinez at this restaurant. I choose to go downstairs in the cave-like atmosphere. I will always choose that one, given the choice. And he recommended some of the local stuff. Now that is kvass, and it tastes exactly like rye bread. It's slightly alcoholic. It's a thing there. And here's the pink soup. People told me online it would taste like beets, but no. Not me. Whoa. Okay. It tastes like pickles. It tastes like pickles to me. It's fantastic. I love it. And here's a cepelinas, the singular of cepelini, with potato on the outside and meat or cheese on the inside. And there's a sauce that you got to use. It doesn't taste as good at all without that sauce. And I ate like half of mine before I realized I was supposed to put the sauce on there. Now we head to an area called Užupis, which is famous for being an artistic area and a very independently artistic area. They even have their own constitution. It's a cool area. You must visit this area. Look at this, pieces of art on a wall at the edge of a river. This is Užupis. And there's Spunka, known to be another super cool bar. I was so happy there as well. It wasn't the same as the garden bar. Not as friendly, but still pretty cool. People did make contact. I felt welcome. They played super cool music, and they had wonderful beer. There are 3 Spunka in town. Make sure you go to the one in Užupis. That's the original. That's Mother Spunka. It's not for everyone. They play kind of intense music like Rammstein and also TVOD by The Normal. That's the flip side of Warm Leatherette. which was later covered by Grace Jones and maybe somebody else. Next day I got a beard trim, needed it, was so glad to do it. It's a fun thing to do in a foreign country. I accidentally got my nose waxed. He asked me about wax, and I thought he meant my mustache. And so he brings out some hot wax, and before I know it, there are 2 Q-tips with hot wax stuck in my nose. And I'm thinking, uh-oh. But it wasn't as bad as I'd feared. And now I actually think I breathe better. And when I breathe in through my nose, I seem to get more air. Is that possible? And now to a restaurant that was recommended to me in person. Also, I read about it. I thought maybe it won't be so good because it's so famous, but it was good. And it was not expensive, very fair price. Started out with some crawfish soup. I had to try that. And there it is. And then a little bit of red relish. I'm not sure what I was supposed to do with it. It was like beet relish. I ate it. And there's the duck confit, kind of a safe choice. And some more walking. It's important to dress as lightly and as warmly as you can. I was a little underdressed. Could have worn a big, long wool coat. Probably would have been better off. If I'd been a little warmer, I would have done a lot more walking. That's, I guess, my only regret. I didn't walk my brains out. I was thrilled with the whole trip from beginning to end. There was nothing bad about it except a 3-hour delay on the flight home, which was doable. Here's the last night. On the way back to the hotel, I pick up some stuff to get me through the night. Yeah, some bread, some water, some beer. They have kozel, which I'm always on the lookout. It's either kozel or kozel, and this is landing in Boston. And I always love when the plane goes into the clouds, into the soup. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and click the bell to get notified of future posts. Share it, comment. It helps the channel a lot.